Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, My Haunted Journal edition. Let me clear my voice. If you're new here, this is my haunted journal. It's just where I casually yap about what's going on in my life, especially anything supernatural I'm experiencing. I also share channel updates, everyday life with my boyfriend, and thoughts on things in the media like true crime. But I try and focus on the supernatural. So I usually touch on that at least a little bit in the podcast, if not the whole thing. On this channel, you'll find three types of content: this haunted journal series with my dog Buddy, who likes to chime in every time I talk, my short mini mysteries that you can find on my short tabs. They're just under 3-minute videos that I find interesting on topics. And I just dropped one yesterday, so if you want, you can check that out. And then longer investigative deep dive videos. So if you're interested in any of those, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Um, okay, so I just wanted to catch up on just some like I like to talk about what I'm into entertainment wise, just because that's fun to talk about for me. So if you're not interested, you can skip that. But what I've been interested in is, if you're new to my channel, I discovered video games. Well, whatever. I started getting into video games in late last year. So like around November, December-ish is when I started getting really into them. And since then, my favorites have been Little Nightmares trilogy, as well as the Reanimals. I'm very excited because it's created by the same people, and that is coming out on Friday. So I'm very excited about that. So that is coming out on Friday. I've also been really into the Hollow Knight world. So I started playing Hollow Knight and Silk Song. I want to complete it all to the highest percentage. I don't know what's the highest percentage for Silk Song. I know Hollow Knight is randomly 112%, but I'm just working on it and doing it casually, and I just like to keep people updated on that as I do that. So you might hear about that random chit chat in these videos for future videos, just because I'm into it. But the main thing I want to talk about is yesterday I discovered, because the Hollow Knight series is like very, you have to be skilled for it. Like, don't let any of the people that play video games since they were 10 years old online tell you any difference. You have to be skilled, especially for Silk Song. And sometimes I just need to step away from that. So I wanted to find some other video games, and I found this video game yesterday that I absolutely love, and I'll post some screenshots of just the imagery here because it's so pretty. And I absolutely love it. It's called Night in the Woods, and it's such a cute, good game. Like, at first, I was kind of like, man, I don't know if this is for me or whatever. But when I started playing it, it's so good. It's about this little cat, I guess, but they're like in a human world, but their characters are like different animals, like, whatever. And she's 20 years old, and she drops out of college mysteriously. She doesn't really explain why. And she comes home, and um she meets up with her friends that she used to know from high school, and she starts connecting with them more. And then all of a sudden, start mysterious things start happening in the town. People go missing. There's a ghost element to it, and it's really well done. And then she has these dreams, and the dreams are done so like pretty. Like, I guess pretty is like it's just very like well done game. Like, that's what I was playing last night. Hopefully I can finish that this evening. But I kind of got hooked on it. I played it for an embarrassing amount of time. I just wanted something. The game is really cool because it's set up kind of like uh reanimals and reanimals, as well as Hollow Knight, in the sense of just having that 2D, like walking around and things like that. But there's not a lot of combat. There's like no combat. There's like jumping and stuff like that, but nothing hard, right? The hardest parts are the dream sequences where you have to jump around and find these like little areas. But it's just a very like relaxing, and like, I don't know. It's just, I love it. And the storyline is so good. And I looked it up and I was like, are they going to make a sequel? Because I just fell in love with the characters and the atmosphere of it. But it seems like the guy that created it was making a sequel, or maybe not a direct sequel, but he was making something similar. And then he got health issues, unfortunately. And so that made me sad. But that's okay because obviously his health comes first. But if he's feeling better, but yeah, I just, if you're looking for something that, like, if you're kind of like me, that you like those, like, I guess 2D games, because I'm not very good with the 3D games. Eventually I will get into those, but right now this is what I kind of like. And you're looking for something a little like calmer, but with a really good storyline. I so recommend it. I so recommend it. I just, and then, like, I don't know. I've said this before on my podcast. I'm gonna just call this a podcast or one of my videos. Is the universe will always kind of like, I don't know, because I was getting really jaded with Hollow Knight. I love Hollow Knight. I actually just bought a plush of Conifer that sings to you. That's coming out in quarter 2, they said. Um, but so I'm a big fan of Hollow Knight, but like I was just getting frustrated with certain things, and then my boyfriend was like, "Why don't you just try and find something different?" And so I did, and then when I did do that, it was like I was so excited because it was like one of those, like, because I kept kind of like looking for a game that was kind of like exactly like that, and I don't know, and then some of the storyline kind of really resonated with me a lot, and like I said, that's kind of how the universe does things like that. They might be like blocking you on one thing. We're like, oh, I don't want to like give up this game because I love it so much. Okay, so we're gonna pivot over to true crime, hopefully quickly. Um, I not gonna lie, I kind of had a little vent of a rampage of this case. I deleted it because I don't know, my I don't want to get wrapped up in true crime too much on this, but I just feel like there's been a lot of cases recently that have piqued my interest, and I think for someone that's not even into true crime would be interested in the Nancy Guthrie case. Like I said, I've been kind of keeping my eye on the Celeste Hernandez case, the Nick Reiner case, as well as the Tepe case. But the Nancy, this case, I'm gonna try and choose my words carefully because I kind of went on a little rampage, and that's why I don't do live videos. This case is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I said previously, I was playing my video game yesterday, so I wasn't looking at the news. I wasn't looking at my phone for like for a long time for me, like more than 2 hours, which is, I should get a gold medal for that. But I just didn't have my phone, and I was like really into this game, and I checked my phone late at night. And when I did, I saw all of this like news about detaining this guy for the Nancy case, and they raided his house, his mother-in-law, they took his mother-in-law's phone, he took his wife's phone, like the journalists were shoving you know microphones in their face. I just saw a clip right now of the guy kind of like pushing the microphone back because, like, he's just this dude, and it doesn't seem like he's involved, because spoiler alert, if he wasn't involved, they wouldn't have released him so quickly. I don't know what's going on with this case. I don't know why Trump is stinking his nose in this case. I don't know why they're giving us information, asking for our help, but not giving us correct information. Savannah went on her Instagram yesterday. I was like, we really need your help. We really need your help. And then a few hours later, they release footage, and they're like, oh, we just got this footage from the Nest camera, from the Ring cameras, of this like creepy guy that honestly, low key, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory, it looks almost staged. And they're like, we just got it now. Here you go, public. And I'm like, if you want our help, stop playing around. Like, and I get that they're trying to, I feel like they're just giving us information either to distract the public from what's really going on, or maybe distract the person of interest so they don't flee. So maybe they are close to the case and they're talking to investigators, and they don't want them to know that they know. That's the only thing I can think of. But other than that, that shouldn't warrant going into someone's home and and basically tearing it apart, or I don't know what they did, but searched it and detained this guy for a few hours. Like, and apparently I saw on the news, his name is Carlos. Apparently they were following him, and he approached them because they were following him so much. I I don't know what the heck is going on with this case. I'm sure there's stuff they're not telling us, but even if this case gets wrapped up in a pretty bow, I'm saying this respectfully, this case was weird. I don't know. I hope Nancy's safe. This case is weird. Then they said something about the sheriffs found blood in their home when the case first started. They said the family didn't find blood in the home because they go through the garage instead of the front door, and I guess it was more about the front door area where they found Nancy's blood. Unfortunately, like if I pictured, say someone took something I love, right? And I'm not even going to say it because I want to put that in the universe, but something I love, right? And I come in and I go through my normal day and I go through, let's just say my normal thing is through the garage, right? If I see something's missing and something seems to be wrong, I am going to be searching the house, calling the cops and searching the house. I'm not going to just focus on the place where I come in, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm panicked, right? That's not a normal thing. You don't just sit there and wait for the cops and be like, well, you search. Like, that's not a normal reaction. And then the other thing, and again, I'm not saying the family's involved. I'm saying the investigation is weird. That is what I'm saying. And what they're telling the public. I feel like I try and watch the news and I try and watch YouTube reports because you feel like you're getting the most unbiased information. I feel like the sources we're getting is like a bunch of TikTok nonsense. That's what I feel like. I'm almost like, should I go back to TikTok? Will this make more sense? Because right now, nothing makes sense. And I want to know why they're trying to make the public make no sense. They say they want our help, but they don't even know. They first told us that Nancy was supposed to go to church, and that's why they figured out she was missing. Turns out, like 4 or 5 days later, she hasn't been to church in forever. She started going virtual. She was supposed to meet up with a friend, and that's they keep changing the story. And I'm like, who is changing the story, and for what reasoning? It is it is crazy. And at the same time, we have people like Celeste who is missing for months and no one gave a crap, and that's another thing that's driving me crazy. Um, and guess what? She was involved with celebrities, so you can't use any excuse about public figures here. But anyway, um, so yeah, it's just it makes it it's something's going on in this case, and I don't care if tomorrow gets wrapped up in a pretty bow. Something was wrong. Something was going on behind the scenes. I don't know if Savannah is just trying to listen to 20 different people telling her, go on your Instagram, don't go on your Instagram, do this, do that, do this. Because when she goes on her Instagram, she's like, we need your help. Well, okay, I agree, but you're not giving us much to go on, right? And then there's you're not even giving us the proper information, right? And that's I'm not saying that's her fault because she's not the one probably in charge of like saying what information to release to public and what not. But this case is weird. This case is weird. My boyfriend agrees. It's so strange the way they're investigating, the way they're giving information to the public, asking for the public's help, but not being reliable, detaining random people. That Carlos guy, he needs to consider if he has nothing to do with this, which I have a feeling they would detain him still. If he did, I would consider lawyers or something. They took away their phones. They searched their house for what? Like, this makes no sense unless they're just trying to bring a bunch of red herrings for either the public or the person that they have an interest. If it is red herrings, you're being stupid because you don't just detain a random guy. I don't know why Trump is sticking his nose in the business. He needs to worry about president things and golf, apparently. Like I just like I don't know. This case is weird. It's so weird. The only person right now, obviously, are the people that are genuinely grieving Nancy and worried about her and Nancy. That's where my heart goes to because I don't know what is going on. Every time I turn on the news, they're like, they raided the house. In the dusk of night and blah blah blah. This isn't like this is weird. And they say, and someone was saying the other day, like, this is how the FBI works. This is how they get down to. I'm like, no, this. I've watched a lot of cases. This is not how they conduct cases like this, right? They don't just throw things and see what sticks. Like it's really weird. I don't know, but I'm gonna get off of it because I don't know. But even if we get something wrapped up in a tiny little bow and be like, see, public, you were stressing. Like, no, this case was weird. It was weird. And unless, this case is weird. I don't care. It's weird. I'm going to move on. I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off. I'm going to move on. Okay, so we're going to move on to supernatural things. So, last supernatural update for my personal update was that um I was investigating Buddy because in all my previous, if you've been watching any of my haunted journals, there's been weird activity in the living room with Buddy, with his toys and just with the way he acts in there. Sometimes he gets really scared, especially at night. If I don't keep the light on during nighttime, he usually will try and get into my room. Um, so I got a blink camera. But the problem is my blink camera has been weird. I don't Okay, so let's back up. So originally I got the blink camera to watch Buddy. But to test it and to see like what it picks up and like things like that, I put it in my bathroom where it's angled towards my bed where I could see activity like me moving around in my bed and my cat going around in my bed because first of all, during the summer I did have activity in my bathroom, so I wanted to kind of see if there was anything there. And then also um just to test it out to see what it does pick up, like how subtle things like that. So I did that. I set it up there and I realized I liked having it in the bathroom because one, I can see what my kitty does during the night because she likes to run around and play at night. And I don't know, I just, as a cat mommy, I like to see what she does at night. So I was like, well, I want to keep it in the bathroom. Plus, I just like to have it for, being a girl, like it's fine or anything, but I just like to have it at night. And then, especially when Kermie is, working. And so I was just like, okay, I kind of like it, and I should get another one anyway in case Kermie and I do move. So, I have that when we move. And so I got another one, and I set that up in the living room towards Buddy's bed. Now, I don't usually have it if the times that I keep it armed where it actually records movement is at night and when I'm out and no one's there to watch Buddy. I don't keep it out during the day because, like I said, there's other people living here, and I just think that you don't want to like just be like every moment I'm gonna watch you. You know what I mean? Like it's literally just to monitor Buddy. So I I set it up. I put it in there. The first night was fine. The second night was weird, and I will tell you why. So, and this is I have no truth to lie, no reason to lie. So I set it up. The beginning of the footage is Buddy sleeping that I witnessed was Buddy sleeping in his bed by the living room where it's angled. There is also a couch that is not the camera is not facing that he likes to sleep in sometimes, but the activity is by his bed in the living room. So he's sleeping on the couch. He's curled up, and then once in a while they'll say there's movement. I don't see much movement going on, like they'll record a video clip. I don't see anything moving. It's just Buddy really sleeping. Maybe he like sighs or something. The video picked it up, or it's picking up activity that we can't see. I don't know because usually it's not that sensitive, right? Where it's not picking up anything. But Buddy was just sleeping. And then all of a sudden, there's him sleeping on the hardwood floor. So he got up and he's sleeping on the hardwood floor, but there's no footage of him getting up off the bed to sleep on the hardwood floor. So I was like, that's weird because it's picking up other subtle things like him lifting up his head when he's sleeping on the hardwood floor. He's kind of like looking because he hears something again. Don't know what he's hearing because I don't physically hear anything. But so there's subtle movements of him, but him actually, and he's a 75-pound goofy dog, like he's not agile. um there's no footage of him physically getting up, so I'm like, that's weird, but okay. So that was like the strange thing that happened. Now, I lost my phone yesterday. I left it at Target. It was this whole thing. Target are the MVP because I'm the most absent-minded person in the world, and it's getting to be a problem. And I went to go get my phone. I got it back, but the weird thing is my phone is locked like most people's are, and I have just like I don't have an iPhone. I don't really do Apple products anymore. I don't have anything against them. I just prefer Android. And so I have like just a razor phone, right? And I like it because it flips. And so I went there and I described my phone to them. They're like, oh, yeah, we have it. They're very nice. but it was unlocked and I was gone for like an hour or so, like not having my phone because I went somewhere else and then I realized I didn't have my phone afterwards. Um, and so I was like, where's like that's weird that it was because I was like, oh, because he was like trying to say, oh, prove that it's yours, basically, in a nice way, right? But he just didn't want to give the phone to everyone. And I was like, oh, I can put my code in there. And he was like, oh, it's already unlocked. And I'm like, how is it unlocked? Because the only way you can do that is through biometrics with my finger or with my code, and this target guy doesn't know me unless he's like looking at me like through the camera, like, you know what I'm saying, like how is it unlocked though? Like, and so the only thing I could think of is I turned it, I left it in my cart and I put the cart back in the cart rack as you do, and I like put it in there, and the only thing I think of, someone like ran there and like grabbed it before, but then at the same time they would have to keep my phone open the whole freaking time. Right, I'm getting to a point here. They would have to keep my phone open the whole freaking time in order to keep it open, right? Because the biometrics eventually it'll lock. So, and their guest services aren't just staring at my phone. I hope to God not, and just searching through everything. That's just crazy. And I went through my phone obviously, and nothing with anything that I see is missing, right? Anything, because you have personal stuff on your phone. So that's the first thing I'm like, security, like, you know what I mean? Making sure my essentials are good because that's weird. But I was like, it could be I don't know what it was. It was weird. That's what happened. If someone has an explanation of how that could happen, please share it. So I was like, okay, that's weird. Then I go back to look at the footage. And the footage, some of the footage of Buddy is gone. And I know, and I'm not saying the target people did it, right? I've said this before in my podcast, like in one of my videos. Wasn't a haunted journal, I don't think, or maybe it was, but it was a very early one. The first thing, which is so ironic, the first thing that I started experiencing with the supernatural was weird stuff with my security cameras. I got a security camera way back when in 2023, and it started acting weird. Like it would shift randomly, it would act weird. And I feel like it's happening again because the footage is deleted. But here's the thing, there's no way they could have just, why would they just go in and delete dog videos? I don't think it was the target people. I don't think it was the target people hacking my phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, the supernatural, like it, when I watch videos and stuff like that, the supernatural, everyone's like, you got to catch a ghost on thing, you got to have unexplained technology, you got to have this and that. The supernatural is very smart and they're always like 10 step ahead, right? And it's really hard for me to put into words why I think this is connected to supernatural rather than the target people like conspiring to get in my phone and delete pictures of Buddy on my phone, right? Like in my Blink app. Like that would be the stupidest thing in the world, right? That would be like, they'd go for other things, right? Like, not the Blink pictures of Buddy chilling, sleeping in his bedroom, right? There's no way. So you have to think, if you believe in the paranormal, you have to think logically, you have to be all in, right? You have to be like, this is more of a plausible explanation than random target people trying to delete images off my app because they knew I was doing a paranormal investigation of my dog, right? When I have less than, not a great number. I'm very appreciative of anyone that subscribed, but not a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. So my thought goes to more paranormal because that makes more sense, right? Because the paranormal sometimes doesn't like to get caught, right? They don't like the proof out there because it's I in my mind, in my theory, because everything I'm saying about the supernatural is theory based. They like to play games and they like to mess with technology, and I think it's more than just, ooh, your camera glitched, or ooh, you caught a shadow. They like to mess with technology in the sense of deleting files and changing things. It started, the other thing that happened to me when I first started getting into paranormal is my work would get messed with. It was like, but just enough to annoy me, not enough to like jeopardize my job or get me fired or anything like that. Just enough to be like, what the heck is going on here? right? And that's how I feel with the blink camera, right? It's almost like they know, like the universe knows you really well enough that, and they also like to provide explanations, right? Where it's like, oh, it could have been like the Target app, or it was a glitch, or things like that. But if you add it all together, like the Nancy Guthrie case, it makes no sense. What makes sense in my scenario is it makes more sense for paranormal than human stuff, right? I know that sounds weird, and I hope people understand what I'm saying with that. But like, one of our things to do when we're watching things on videos, like on hoaxes and things like that, is we try to explain it away with a human thing, right? It could be a glitch on the computer, but what is a glitch, right? What is a glitch? That is my question. Could a glitch be actually paranormal activity, right? Like, that's the way I think with the paranormal, right? And then they get more and more and more as you start accepting the paranormal. That is my thought process. I know I might think, I promise I still have mini shorts that are not as, a lot, but I hope people are kind of getting what I'm saying, right? If it doesn't all add up with the human side, then it might be something paranormal, right? And we're so easy to be like, oh, he could have just like had it open in a weird angle, or maybe it, oh my God, someone probably hacked your phone, and like you can't trust people. Like, true, but if you add up all the little pieces of what I'm experiencing at the home and what happened at Target, and then the certain specific images that are missing, who would have the best motive to not want those pictures? No, the Target people don't care about a girl trying to investigate ghosts in her living room, right? That's how the universe works. That's my opinion. That is my update. Also, I tried to record yesterday, and for some reason I was playing video games, so I had internet and I watched YouTube videos on the Guthrie case right after I went to bed at like 1 o'clock, because I was addicted to that video game. At 1 o'clock ish, I watched it on my um laptop because I was on that, and my internet was working just fine throughout the night. But for some reason, my bathroom footage and my bedroom and the living room footage got no activity yesterday. None. But he did sleep on the couch, so I just like chalk it off, maybe that. But in my bedroom, I like kick and move. I've talked about this before. I karate chop in my sleep. Didn't capture anything. But at like six something in the morning, when I started getting ready and Buddy went on his little bed, it captured everything. So I don't know. That's the update of the video cameras. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, just because you don't see like a ghost in the middle of the night doesn't mean there's not activity happening, right? That's my whole point. That took me way too long to say. So I will keep you updated on that. But I'm also skeptics, right? Like, I do have skeptical side, but this is what I'm experiencing. So if someone can explain why the Target people would want to delete blink footage of Buddy, please let me know, because that would be weird even for me. And here's the thing, like, before all this stuff happened, watched a live that Loie did, and I watched it when she was actually doing it, and I was like half asleep watching it, and I only watched, because what she does is Loie Lane, if you don't know, on YouTube, she reacts to like haunted footage, right? And she did a live. I haven't really watched the whole thing yet, but I did watch the first video that she reacted to, right? And they were trying to decide if it was hoax or not. And here's the thing. I don't know if that video per se was a hoax or not. I thought it was creepy either way, and it was really well done if it was a hoax. But here's the thing. Someone in the comments said it's too perfect. It's too perfect timing. That's the thing about, because they said like the apparition disappeared as soon as he got to the car that where the ghost was, right? It was just like he never got a close up of the thing he was seeing, because it would go away as soon as he would like try and approach it, right? That was the idea of the video, of the spooky video, to make it short. And they said it's just too perfect, like it's too perfect timing. But that's the thing about the universe. The universe is all about perfect timing and aligning things, right? And being one step ahead, right? That's the point of the universe. It teases, right? And so I think that's complete opposite. I think that's almost more proof, because the universe like I said, with the universe, I don't just believe in ghosts and spirits and things like that. I do believe in that, but I believe there's a technology side to it that we don't even have, our brains can't even wrap around right now. I think maybe we do have the capability to, but just right now, that's not what we are designed for. And honest to goodness, like the universe timing is beyond our measure, right? So us thinking them having that perfect timing of like playing with us isn't is a way to prove that that video is not real. I don't think is a good case because the universe times everything perfectly. I don't even want to say time, but like aligns everything perfectly in order to either get your attention or progress on your journey. It helps someone else progress on their journey. That's like a huge chunk of how the universe works, right? So anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, people understand I'm just passionate about things. So every time I talk, sometimes I feel like it sounds like it's coming out angry. It's not. It's just sometimes I just spew a lot. So that's why I have these journals. I'm trying to work on better pacing, but that will come. But thank you for listening. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.